Previously, we saw how to fetch data using fetch, which comes naturally from JavaScript and which is available everywhere. Now I want to show you another example using Axios. Axios is a very famous library that helps you to do exactly the same as fetch, but with more options, and probably you will be very interested in them. So what we're going to do now, we are going to stop our React application. And I'm going just to type npm install Axios. So Axios is a library that we will use basically to do promise-based HTTP client requests from the browser and Node.js, and it will offer a more powerful and more flexible alternative to fetch. All right, so I'm going to yarn dev again. And there we go, we got our application back. I'm going to let for you this example with fetch, and down there I'm going to create a new example with Axios. All right, so basically it's always the same. We're going to fetch data and we're going to render it directly inside our page just up here. Okay, so now we got Axios here. What we want to do is to import Axios from Axios Basic. Okay, and with this Axios that we got there, we are going to get actually our movies. Okay, so here I'm going to do my try catch, okay, and I'm going to throw a new error of error. There we go, error message. There we go. And instead of having here our fetch just up here, I can type const response, okay, is equal Axios. And here Axios is providing to us all the method as a sub-object. So if I want to do a get, I'm going to type get. If I want to do a post, I'm going to type post. If I want to do a patch, I'm going to type patch. Okay, so here it's the first main difference. After that, all the options that I can pass through this get, basically they are the same with fetch. I can work on the headers and stuff, etc., etc. So I'm just going to call again my own API, which is up there. There we go. And what I want to do is just now to just console log and catch my error. So if you didn't see previously what we've got here, just here, you can go on the video of fetch. We can see immediately the response for those who were on the previous video. Here I'm just going to type res, there we go, that we don't need to transform actually our response as a JSON with Axios. It's handling it automatically, and we can see here that when we console log our res data. And so what I can do so far is to use this res data. I don't need to transform it into a JSON and to put set data of res data. And suddenly we see that we've got an error, because remember, this is movies that we need and not the actual data. So I'm going to type res data from movies, and we got the exact same example. Of course, what I could do is just to deconstruct here, and just to put, it's actually data, sorry, there we go. And what I could put is just to put this, there we go, data.movies, and we would have the same thing. Okay, so we can see here with Axios that we can do exactly the same kind of call, and you can use Axios everywhere you want. Okay, I'm going to just comment here this example, and I'm just going to let it for you, and I'm going to also comment Axios here on top. That's really cool. But every time I'm going to write fetch or Axios, I will need to put the URL that I want to call, and it's probably boring. Okay, I probably don't want to do that. Also, probably I would like to pass the same configuration object to every HTTP handler request that I'm going to use. It's a bit boring. So what we could do is to create an instance of Axios that we would call all the time. So you will understand what I'm going to do in just a minute, but to do so I need to come back to my whole project that I got in here. Okay, so here we can see that I got my source folder with tons of stuff, my helpers, my hooks, my layouts and stuff. So what I could do, the first thing that I could do is, for example, to have an API folder, and in this API folder got an axios.js file that would actually be the instance of my Axios. Okay, so here I can do that under API, or I can put it directly at the root of my source folder. Okay, so just for this course, for everybody to find it faster and stuff, I'm just going to do it in here. You are not obliged to do it, you can do it whenever you want. Okay, we've got our file. So what is this Axios file? this file will be an instance of Axios, which means that basically here we are going to create like a layer that will be injected in every call that we're going to do. So what should we do? What we should do at first, of course, is to import Axios. After that, we would need to create an instance or an instance object. So what I need to do here is to call Axios. I got this instance object that I can export by default. I got this Axios and I type axios.create. Okay, this create function coming from Axios is receiving one object. And this object here, it's the configuration of every Axios that I'm going to use. So let me come back to form. Down there, we can see that here in this example that I commented, I got this Axios here. But instead of this Axios, I'm going to call this instance. So automatically, I will be sure that I will call actually basically this object every time. So here I can put all my configuration. If I want to fetch some cookies, some token directly, not fetch, sorry, get some cookies from here, from my instance that I got there, I'm not obliged to copy paste all the time after inside my Axios instance the thing. I can just do it in this instance. All right, so let's write together. Okay, let's write together here this object. So we got a base URL. So we can see here that probably my base URL will be https://codewithg.com/API/movies. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy paste this, okay, and I'm going to comment it, and I'm going to put example with Axios instance. All right, I'm just going to go to the top. Okay, I'm just going to go here. There we go. And instead here of getting this Axios, I'm going to import my Axios instance, okay? So I'm going to type it like this, coming from where? Here I can do that, and at the root, here source, or I can probably just do that. Here, there we go, we've got Axios, and there we go. So we got our Axios instance, and I'm going to go down there on my Axios instance. And you can see here that I didn't put yet the base URL. So the base URL, basically, it's the URL that you are going to call. So probably here I can put this whole thing with API, and I'm just going to put, actually without the last slash, I'm just going to copy paste this one, coming here. And there we go. So every call that I'm going to use, every base URL that I'm going to use with this instance is this part of the API. So now I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to save. And here we can see that we've got a lot of errors. Don't worry for that. Okay, so we call /movies. We got this base URL. And we've got these headers that are passed, if I would like to pass some headers and stuff. And we've got this with credential. And you can see here that I wrote that with credential automatically send cookies with request, which is cool because you don't need to inject the cookie in every call that you will do. Okay, so me in my case, I got tons of error because I added the headers and with credential. And for the need of this course, I opened totally the API. So I'm just going to remove that, and there we go. So here, if I do that and I update again, we can see that I finally got the response. And if I want to look at the code itself, here I'm just going to look for movies. There we go. We got movies. We got the preview. And we can see that it took the base URL and it added actually the path that I'm looking for now. So this Axios instance is really useful because it created actually a place where I can have actually a part of the API that I'm calling. And I can just type /movies and don't take care about all the rest. All I need to do is to do all my configuration in this instance here in this file. Of course, you can use this instance asynchronously. So Axios is really useful for that. You can go way deeper into Axios. This was just a quick course to show you how to use Axios with React. But we can see that we can leverage the whole configuration of every call we want to do from React to an API directly inside an Axios instance like this.